Hello everyone and welcome back to the RedSeaPodcast. I apologize for taking a minute to get things going, but I was fixing some last minute stuff with having everything that I need to cover today in front of me because as you all voted for yourselves yesterday, there is quite a bunch to to go ahead and get through today, even if it's with minimal detail. That's why I am also starting a bit earlier than usual. I know that usually I start around 10 p.m. Greek time. Of course, now I'm starting 9 because while stuff may very easily take as long as usual, given that I am very sadly on my own today, uh, stuff also may take a bit longer given we have like five-ish games to talk about. So, before I get into all the Olympiacos stuff, two main things. Lately, due to, if you've tuned in to the past few episodes, due to construction around here, my connection has been a bit shaky, and I am not aware for how long that's going to continue. But of course, that doesn't mean I'm going to leave you all without uh, any coverage, and especially now that we have the EuroLeague starting, we have Arsenal on Wednesday. There is going to be continued shows like usual, which I have been waiting a lot for, to be honest, because I missed covering back-to-back games. And yeah, if that keeps going on, I have a way to fix it immediately every time. But especially in these shows where I'm gonna be solo, do let me know immediately whether you're listening to this after and tune into a next show. If stuff starts going bad and I don't notice, feel free to let me know as soon as you realize. That out of the way. Secondly, uh, StreamYard for once has agreed, let's say, to make our lives a bit easier and not harder. So, up about here, you're probably gonna see a QR code that's gonna be popping up there, here or there, throughout the shows. And that QR code will save you the time from going to check every single link due to the socials in the description. It will take you straight to the link tree of the show where more or less everything but the Patreon is there and updated, which is the Twitter, the Instagram, here on YouTube, the TikTok, and the Spotify. The socials have been working smoother than ever, I'd say. I've been finding some patterns that I personally like, and I hope you like too. The audiences are growing everywhere. We are inching closer and closer to the first platform hitting 1,000 followers, and that's Twitter, which is mind blowing to me. Like a four-digit number is something I could have never expected coming from any platform of this show. But yeah, the support everywhere has been incredible. The work everywhere has been more than satisfying, especially as I said now that I'll be streaming a lot more with everything kicking back. And as we all have seen, and as we all will realize with this show as well, I am making an attempt to cover the Rasitechni games more this season. I tried to keep up as much as possible last season, but at least score-wise this time, I want to post about them immediately at the game's end, as I have been doing with Handball, as I did with our dominant victory in the Women's Basketball Super Cup, which we will get into in no time, honestly. And as I will do with volleyball, water polo, by the way, for those of you that are interested, as far as I'm aware, the Super Cup final against Vouliagmeni will be played on Thursday at Faliro with available tickets. So for those of you that are interested in going to support our water polo team, go check that out. And yeah, I want to not only implement them more on the socials, at least as much as I can keep up, which hopefully will be every game bar some minimal stuff, and along with the B team and the academy games that I want to try and keep up with as much as possible as well. I want uh, I want this show, I want this brand to be an all-inclusive, informative place where you can find everything you need from Olympiacos. Of course, I'm not working alone. I'm working with Gav as well, but neither of us are superhuman. Life has been kicking us both to the curb a bit more than we'd like lately, but both of us are here in every way for you all as we love what we do here. And as I said, I hope you all have been finding the information on the socials, first of all, better than last year for sure, but better than expected in general. And do expect only improvement. And aside from the socials, as I will do today, as I said, I want to at least mention scores and some events and especially trophy wins here on the shows as well, even if it's a simple mention. So, with everything that we have to cover, I'd say we start with the biggest thing, shall we? And that biggest thing is something that we were all keeping in our mind, honestly, as something that perhaps wasn't going to be that easy and perhaps wasn't going to be that straightforward as expected, but ended up due to some outside interferences as well, ended up being lots more chaotic than needed. And that, of course, is the Levadiakos game. Levadiakos that almost cost us, like last year, through utter, dare I say, Greek football chaos. Levadiakos that uh, almost snatched up a point again with the exact same result as last year, which would have been 2-2, if it wasn't for the divine intervention of a certain Portuguese absolute demigod, right? Of course, that being Chiquinho, and us winning 3-2 with the most minutes of extra time due to unpredicted and, excuse my language, very stupid circumstances, which of course was the complete falling apart of VAR and the communication between the VAR room and the referee, which spurred even more chaos. But we'll talk about that as time goes on. So, yeah, 3-2. We opened the scoring with an incredible header by Panos Retsos, which came from an equally incredible set piece of Christos Mizakidis. Then, after the half ends and we kicked off the second half, just what is it? Just 13 minutes after, Sebastian Palacios, after a horrible giveaway by Daniel Podence, plays a wonderful 1-2 that leads into a shot that no one was able to save that ends up at the top of Zolakis' net. But then, literally 2 minutes after, even though I think it was even less, maybe the VAR check took a bit more. Chiquinho will find the rebound header as well and make it 2-2 with a snap of a finger. Make it 2-1, I'm sorry, with a snap of a finger. Then, almost 20 minutes after, 19 to be exact, there is a bit of a scrap of the ball in our own box. Stuff leads to a header outside, I'm pretty sure to Mansatis. Even though don't quote me on that, let me actually go and check who was it given the proper assist of the goal. It is Mansatis, I am correct on that. And as Mansatis, I'm pretty sure he heads it back in. Konstantinos Rumas finds the ball on the volley and sends it to the right end of Zolagis' net from basically a meter. Horrible defending. My memory escapes me on who was supposed to be marking the completely free Konstantinos Rumas. But of course, that's not what matters from this goal, is it? Because in the check of this goal being offside, which by the way, this goal was offside, an official announcement from the referee committee came out and said that if VAR was working properly, the correct decision was going to be for this goal to be ruled out for offside on Manthatis, I'm pretty sure, and not a shot. I'm more than certain that Manthatis was in front of everyone before he brought the ball back in for Gumas to score. And that went on for 17 minutes. They tried to fix the VAR for 17 minutes. It was the 80th to 90 plus 6, so 16 minutes. And then a plus 17 in general was given, and then 4 plus minutes from that were kept. So as I said, probably the longest bit of extra time we've seen in a football game in general. And within those minutes, actually on the first play, ever since the VAR complete idiocy ended and football began again, Chiquinho, the savior of this game, Chiquinho, from an assist from Dani Garcia, scored an incredible, unbelievable goal, which of course led to insanely passionate celebrating, which of course led to an incredible amount of shaking from the stadium, and which of course led to a very, very, very indescribably important win for us to stay joint top. And as the signs clear in general, it really looks like Olympiacos will barely even have one opponent in the league this year. With, of course, Haik picking up a narrow victory, PAOK needing a non-existent penalty to even pick up a 3-3 draw against Asteras, of which Asteras, of course, came back from. And Panathinaikos again picking up a narrow victory in the dying minutes against Panetolikos. And Panathinaikos, of course, already being a lot of points. I'm pretty sure Panathinaikos find themselves 8th right now. So yeah, chaos. But honestly, whichever way you look at it, aside from the ridiculous factor of VAR just stopping, just not working properly for 20 minutes straight, if you count the first half mishaps, of course, before Daniel just almost converted one of the most beautiful goals from a free kick we've seen in a while. It was a test we needed. Was it a test because we more or less were at fault with our defensive performance? Yes. But you can't go out there and say that Olympiacos aren't a good team. I've said it ever since it was clear which teams would just swim and not sink in that midfield this year. And it was clear that it wasn't luck this time. And the team like Olympiacos is well organized and with a goal. So again, don't be surprised if a team like Olympiacos ends up fighting for the fifth place spot. But again, you have to look at it from our perspective and say that it was a much needed test ahead of a game on Wednesday that even the most hopeful can't see us really getting anything out of. Hopefully, as was the cup game, which of course was way more frustrating than the Olympiacos game was. Hopefully, those two were used as wake-up calls ahead of Wednesday, and hopefully we head to the Emirates with the level of football that we know. Hopefully we head to the Emirates as full strength as possible. And most importantly, hopefully we head to the Emirates with Mendilibar setting the proper goals and having the proper plan to fight for a miracle that we've done many times before in the Emirates. Because on the other hand, you never know, right? You can easily go out there and say that yeah, we probably won't get anything out of this match, but you never know, right? Because if we go out there and play our football, never know what may come of it. It was a much needed test for the league though as well, because of course we have PAOK right after Arsenal, and while PAOK are in complete shambles under Lucescu, they're not a side to be underestimated, and a win against them is a must. And in my opinion, in my humble opinion at least, we need to go and beat the absolute hell out of them. Because if you do beat them, set them back, maybe even let me actually check if that's possible. If it's possible to get them overtaken by Aris, because I completely forgot that I'm pretty sure it is possible to get them overtaken by Aris. But even if you set them back a few steps from you, um, it will be a massive momentum boost from you, not from you, for you, and it will be basically one more thing, just more or less, at least out already, right? And then you just have Ike to deal with which you play very soon. It's as we said with Gav last week after that draw with Pana. Yes, it is possible for PAOK to be overtaken by Aris. They just have a 1 point difference. So you need to go there and beat the hell out of them. Now, it is a continuation that will test this team, both in Europe and in Greece. And stealing a quote from Gav himself, after this streak of games is over, we will have the clearest picture of what this team is capable of doing. Because sure, some stuff has been troubling. We've been also troubled with few injuries, but again, in came the depth to cover us up, especially with Danny now more or less. Well, no, he's not 100% yet. That would be a bit stupid to say. But especially with Danny now picking up steam, Zelson hopefully coming back strong. Gabriel able to stand back a bit and come off the bench. Pneumonidis getting a more impact sub role as he should be getting right now. The midfield switching around, Chiquinho getting a bit more freedom, and so on and so forth. Having the privilege to have Yazici and Remy Kabbalah to help you in Greece, which is insane to even think about that these pieces are solely for the Super League, whether that will prove to be a worthy risk or not, except that the last show we'll see a lot over the next stretch of games, that's for sure. And as much as we've been concerned with a lot of stuff, rightfully so up until a point, I feel like this thing's going to snap. And if these two games, especially this test of Olympiacos, that was basically the reality check that we needed, again, aside from all the VAR bullshit, right? It was basically the reality check that we needed. We'll see a whole different Olympiacos from Wednesday onwards, and an Olympiacos that represents the quality that we have in the squad. And an Olympiacos that not only can be more direct in the play and more clear in the play that Olympiacos shows game in and game out, but more consistent as well, and if needs be, more adaptable as well. We can do a lot of stuff this season. That's for damn sure. It just needs that small league. That small little league that honestly can do wonders this season. So we'll hopefully see it very, very soon. Now, the thing about Levadiatos' second goal that I was going to say. Somehow, some way, you had opposing fans complaining about. Somehow, some way, you had opposing fans complaining about the whole VAR thing when the decision benefited the other team and not us. But that's logic that some people can't really go on and comprehend, as we are realizing. And then I saw some arguments from some Panathinaikos quote-unquote fans saying that it cut Levadiakos' rhythm, and if VAR was working properly, it would have been 2-3 and not 3-2, and that it was never offside and everything like that, and the usual BS, right? And then the referee committee, as I said, came out and officially said that the goal would have been ruled offside if VAR worked as properly as possible, right? And then everyone looked very stupid, like usual. And some articles from specific orange site that we don't mention anymore, and shockingly but not shockingly as well, for FM are now meme material, honestly, as they were from the beginning. And it shows non-stop that really is Olympiacos versus everyone, right? It just is. It will just not ever end to be Olympiacos versus everyone. And will somehow still come out on top, no matter what happens. Now, when talking about performances, you have to start from this man, right? A performance of dreams from our most consistent player. What's there to even say anymore? What's there to even begin and say? Full 90, full 100 and God knows how much, not even 90. running off the two incredible goals, 52 touches. It's an 82% the accuracy with three key passes, one out of one on the long balls, one out of one on the dribble attempts. He had two shots on target, scored them both. Uh, he was even good defensively with three out of five ground duels won and half his aerial duels won. Let me actually run through some more stats. And honestly, when he's hit, he was everywhere. He was everywhere. At some point, he was returning back to the left back position to help the team, and then carry the ball up and go and goddamn score too. What's there to say about Chiquinho? A few weeks ago, I made the argument that he's the biggest bargain in Olympiacos' at least recent history. I want you all to tell me your opinion in the comments, of course. As time goes on, I think Chiquinho is gonna prove himself to be, if he hasn't already, to be the biggest bargain in Olympiacos' all-time history. He's been consistent. He's been adaptable. He's been everywhere. He's covered the entirety of the midfield when needed. Now that he's gotten more freedom in his role, you see him from behind the halfway line to suddenly him being in the box and scoring, as I said before. He's been assisting, he's been scoring, he's been winning games. He's been the reason we haven't been losing games defensively. He's been everywhere every single time. And I've said this, that Chiquinho's bad days don't even compare to a lot of the league's good days. And again, going back to something that Gav has said, this man, not only, I'll change it a bit, not only if he was younger, this man right now starts for a lot of the Champions League teams. This man right now, if he was younger, sure he would have been actually pursued by them. But he starts for a lot of the Champions League teams. And when we do go on and qualify in the top 24, because I truly am of the belief, as bummed as I was with the draw against Paphos, I am of the belief that we will get into the top 24. And you never know what Mendilibar's Olympiacos can do and pick up against some teams like Chiquinho will be one of the main reasons. And once again, when we run it back with the league and the cup, Chiquinho will be one of the main reasons. I don't know if this man is about to have a breakout season in his 30s, but somehow he's ever improving. And that's scary if you support anyone else, but that's nothing less than fascinating when you're a fan of this team. Speaking of ever improving, though, this man that arguably had one of the games of his short yet very impressive career with Olympiacos, Mouzakitis was doubted for some reason. He got called overrated. He got called mediocre. He got called not ready, and those are by our own fans, quote unquote again, right? I don't know what people are saying other than an absolute star boy. Played 65, played his heart out, got an assist, 52 touches as well, 71% of the accuracy, one key pass, He had a shot on target that he almost scored. He was almost 100% successful on the dribble attempts. Of course, the woodwork, 50% on the ground duels. He won the only aerial duel that he had to. Uh, he got dribbled past only once, and he had that clearance, that incredible clearance, of course, when that I almost forgot. I'm not even gonna lie. When Zolakis got chipped, when he had to basically turn into Maldini to come out and clear that cross that none of our defenders would. Everywhere, effective, almost flawless, and still a goddamn wonder. His potential is being recognized more and more, but we damn sure haven't seen the best yet. Both in Europe and in Greece, Muzakidis is going to shine very bright. And I don't know about you all, but I can't wait to see where his career goes. Honestly, I I can't see us keeping him another season, even though that's very early to say, right? But I can see us keeping him another season. But I think that as this season goes on, of course I think he'll stay until the summer, right? That goes without question for me. But as this season goes on, I think we'll see one of the best rising stars this team has ever seen, and I think we'll enjoy one of our own better than ever before. And speaking of enjoying one of our own better than ever before, well, enjoying. I haven't seen a lot of them, but I have seen a few. And it's basically around one of my many, because it's been a while. And again, a question towards all of you, whoever fits the category, at least. How do you switch out on a player game by game? Good performance to bad performance to mediocre performance. Sure, Retsos hasn't been amazing in the past past few games. But even yesterday when he scored, and for me yesterday he was good. For me, the only flaw that Retsos has been fault for this season was the pass against Panathinaikos. Otherwise, he was flawless. How are we going back to talking bad about our captain, who's been incredible for now a year and a half, who's worked on every flaw of his game and fixed it? How are we talking bad about one of the best and most promising keepers that we've seen because of a mediocre game where arguably neither goal was his fault? Can we look at the fuck in for a minute and realize that we're witnessing our own boys and some of the most talented and hardworking and out Olympiacos born and bred players represent our team on the biggest stages of them all and support them like they deserve to be supported. For the love of God, please, just please stop snapping on every mistake. These boys deserve all the love and all the support. And I'll stand by that. And not just Retsos, not just Solantis, okay? Costinha is going through a mediocre spell. He'll bounce back. We know the quality of Costinha. Strefeca has been mauled alive for some reason, but as uh, Zelson comes back, I'm sure that Gabriel will take a step back and we'll see a lot of his his impact off the bench for a few games, which will be even more impressive, even more impressive, right? And I don't know, I don't know why it's such an insane concept. So support with and not unconditionally because criticizing a team when it performs badly and where it performs badly in a game is fully normal. Just snapping from one end to the other isn't. Because I myself have said that the plan doesn't seem clear right now. And that's why I kept insisting on us needing to use both this test and the test on Wednesday as a wake up call, right? It was a must. And we'll see that on Wednesday. I'm not gonna stand here and be happy go lucky, but I'm not gonna stand here and be miserable. I'm hopeful about Wednesday. I'm hopeful that we'll figure it out. I'm hopeful that we'll somehow, some way do our magic at the Emirates again. Who knows what will happen? I am not gonna give my prediction just yet, because of course we'll talk tomorrow well after EuroLeague. I'm sadly not gonna get the chance to do a pre-game like I did against Papos. I am already working on a pre-game against Barcelona, so do expect that. But yeah, I have given you all my MVP. I took a bit of a break on the ratings because, as I told you all, I am running a bit. I am trying to circle everything and run it a bit more effectively. So posting is going to be even more normal than ever as time goes on. And honestly, Mendy treated this game well. Mendy treated this game very well despite the mishaps that happened. And of course, he had Arsenal in his mind as well. But I'm not going to keep that much of a mind on the Saturday 11, especially as much as last time, because a lot of the effect that the 11 on the weekend had will be shown, as I said, on Wednesday. Now, since we are slowly but surely done with that, and God, I hope you all have brought a snack. Hope you all have get a drink or something because we still have a lot to get through. And I hope you all enjoy and everything is running as smoothly as it possibly can, honestly. Because uh, after the football, the next thing on the mind of Olympiacos fans, at least the ones that are paying attention to everything, was the Super Cup goddamn absolute galore, right? Of course, we started with the news that Panathinaikos wouldn't be attending, and they got fined like a minimal thing, which is not even worth bothering over. And as it was left, was us against Gardica, which we dispatched more than we faced. And then it was Ak and Prometheus, which Prometheus pulled the upset. I don't even know what to call that. But Prometheus did go on and beat Ike and met us in the final. Of course, final was 92 to 83 in favor of us as we lift the first title of the season. I know that a lot of people don't want to call it a title, I am never gonna stop calling the Super Cup a title because it is a title. It's as simple as that. And it is a goal of the team. It's a main goal, but it is secondary goal. And of course, there was a bit of media banter from the Panathinaikos and Olympiacos side, with Panathinaikos posting up an ironic congratulations for the Super Cup, and the Olympiacos admin responding with it's a shame you weren't here to celebrate it with us, which is a response that, as I said, in my opinion, deserves a goddamn raise. But yeah, a lot of standouts in this Super Cup run, not only necessarily from our side, because I do want to talk about a specific name from the Prometheus side that impressed a lot of people, including me, and that name is Thanasis Vasinas, that scored 17 on us and assisted 5, and is the main reason that Prometheus scores beat Ike. Very promising guard that perhaps we should keep our eyes on, honestly. But of course, from our side, there is one specific name that I want to talk about, but a few more as well that perhaps are starting to prove why they're here, as we are now a few hours ahead of the first EuroLeague game against Baskonia, which will sort of, kind of, a bit talk about today. But of course, the main man of the hour, the man that came in on absolute fire after the Eurobasket run with Greece, that of course is Tyler Dorsey. Tyler with something to prove, according to himself as well. Tyler that was barely featured for many reasons last season. Tyler that went into the collapse of Vasilis Fanoulis, and let's not lie to ourselves, balled out in Eurobasket. Tyler balled out in Eurobasket. And it looks like he came back with new passion. It looks like he came back with a new love, not only for Olympiacos, but basketball in general. And it looks like he came back as a Tyler we know can perform, the Tyler that we know can shoot, and the Tyler that can win games, right? Following up an incredible performance against Karditsa, Tyler in the final put up 23 points with, of course, 2 out of 2 free throws, 3 out of 4 from the 2-point. He put up 71% from the 3, 5 out of 7. That, of course, is a general 73, with 4 defensive rebounds and 1 assist. Hot is an understatement. On the ball and off the ball. And honestly, I think the bare minimum thing to say in regards to Tyler is that he's not here to demand a role. He's here to claim his role. He's here to prove that it's not his time, as a specific commentator is in the habit of saying, because God, am I tired of Tyler time. But he's here to prove that it's his season, right? And I said it before, and I don't believe that it's an overstatement. Tyler at his peak, because I believe that even if we've seen very good performances in the past from Tyler Dorsey, I believe that we haven't truly seen Tyler at his peak yet. If we see Tyler at his best, I mean, it's already feeling like a whole new transfer, right? we don't just become a much more efficient team. We become a much more dangerous team. And that, the danger factor, that X factor, as it's common to say, that X factor is going to be more than crucial this year. And that X factor is going to be perhaps what gets us over a lot of lines that were perhaps not expected to get over. And as much as I was anticipating to see this team in general play their ball, I am more than anticipating to see Tyler throughout the season. And hopefully, cross my fingers, hopefully he's consistent. Nothing to say on Sasa, right? We said surprises. Sasa just picked up where he left off. There is nothing to say there. A player that a lot people were doubting, and a player that showed up as an athletic monster in this Super Cup run. He's done the whole from the dunks to the defense to the rebounds to anything and everything we want to talk about. Again, after an incredible performance against Thrylos, Donda came in the final, played 18, scored 11 with 100% free throws, 5 out of 5 from a big. Is nothing to leave unmentioned here in Olympiacos. 5 out of 5 from a big is something very important, as we all know. 3 out of 3 from the 2-pointer, of course, which leaves him at 100%. 3 defensive, 2 offensive rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. He still needs to find his footing in a lot of things, but solely the athleticism that Donta has shown is something to make everyone very excited, and is something that was much needed. Because it may not have been the main missing piece, but the all-around athleticism that this team needed is here now. Not just at the 5, but in general, it's here now. And that's nothing to look over. That's going to be another factor that perhaps gets us over some lines, like I mentioned earlier. Woke up, of course, starting the season very good as well, honestly. With putting up 11-2 and 4, the final being all over the place as woke up as the good woke up is. 8-1 and 1 for Alec, captain ever present as always with 7-2 and 2 and helping absolutely everywhere. Nico Milutinov with a dominant performance like we want him to keep putting up with 6, 8 and 4 in 22 minutes. 4 out of 4 on the free throws as well, and 2 blocks to add to that. Evan with a 5-3-5, bit of a calmer performance, not really needed that much. No free throws on his end. 2 out of 9 on the shots, 3 defensive rebounds, and a steal to add to his tally. But I'm sure Evan will pick it up as he always will. And the new boy Tyson Ward, not really needing to show anything that we don't already know, just needing to get integrated into the team before the EuroLeague started, which he did. He played 12. He went on a 3-0-3. And in general, again, great chemistry with the team, as it seems from the beginning. Great athleticism. And in general, a lot of positives. There's nothing to not be positive about when looking at this team right now. Perhaps the only thing that is gonna be the risk that is on everyone's mind, and I was gonna get into, is that we're going to play against Mosconia with Thomas Walkup and Saban Lee, right? Of course, Shaq and Keenan are gonna be out. Nilikina, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is gonna travel to Spain after getting some training on his own when the team has a day off. But I think he's not gonna play against Baskonia. So it's gonna be two guards and probably Dorsey if needed as a makeshift point guard. It's gonna be tough against Baskonia. It's nothing to. It's not a team to underestimate, even if it's not anywhere near one of the main threats for this season. But I believe we'll start the season right. I truly do, and we'll get more into it tomorrow after the game and during the game, right? Now, uh, as I said, Super Cup galore, and excuse me for being completely flabbergasted. Uh, but Olympiacos faced Pasianena in the Super Cup in the Women's Super Cup final and killed them. For those of you that don't follow, for those of you that didn't have the chance to catch the result, Olympiacos won the women's side of the Super Cup as well by beating Pasianena 74-30. uh, and of course, uh, the the MVP, the MVP that scored the entirety of the team. If I'm not completely mistaken, let me actually go check that out in a bit. But yeah, what a performance from the girls, what a performance by Eliana, what a performance, and what at bare minimum, honestly, what an insanely positive thing to look forward to as the season goes on. Yeah, okay, just we didn't beat the best of the best, right? Okay, but starting the season with a trophy win in this dominant, absolutely dominant of a fashion is, I don't know if you can in any way, shape or form overlook it. I don't know if you can go on to overlook it, even if you don't want to count the Super Cup as a series title in general. But even the score, even the score, how can you not? Even when you hear um, the win, how can you not be anything less than excited? And I am getting a bit distracted because I am unable to find the actual article I was looking for. So give me a bit of time, if you please. There it is. There it is. Okay, I can't find it, but I am gonna trust my my instinct of and say that I do remember correctly that Elena Christinaki actually just did outscore Pasianena. Do correct me in the comments if I end up being wrong with that, right? Moving on from that, another incredible side that I am honored to be covering as well as every single Olympiacos, right? Is handball side that started the season as dominant as possible. Of course, starting off with a massively important win against PAOK, a massively important win against PAOK, and then going to beat Vriliska 22-36, which means we are very comfortably on top along with Ike, but our difference is severely bigger with a plus 26. Third, of course, follows Lucas, Thrylos, and then drop to PAOK and stuff. Of course, it's going to be asking Ike. Again, I don't think there was any doubt in regards to that. But it's nothing to overlook again, because I think the slogan, because I've said it's nothing to overlook a billion times now. I don't think it's that everything is impressive when it comes to Olympiacos this season. I think that it's finally clearer than it's been for a while that we're here to leave nothing to no one. Right? We're here to remind everyone for another year who we are and that we're here to take it all. And the final thing that we're going to cover for today, slowly finishing up in a very solid hour, is the props that the beating deserves, right? And there is a reason that I've titled this Veteran Flair by Mathieu Valbuena, because the man assisted the winning goal against Chania, which was scored by the once again very impressive Dimi Keita, especially after the injury he came back from. And it's what we said before this whole beating project started again. You can clearly see that this time it's been done well. This time it's been done correctly. This time it's been done to help some of our younger guys get time while being paired with some of the greatest veterans this club has ever seen in Mathieu Valbuena, in Dimitris Siovas. It's been used to test some players to help them get back to speed with games. And we're seeing the best out of a lot of players. For example, someone who's been very impressive has been Isidoros Koutsidis, who have said that we need to keep an eye on him. And Olympiacos B or Olympiacos under 23, say whichever way you want to, stands third in the league, 7 points, which is incredible to say that our young boys, of course, with returns as well. For example, Apostolos Martinis, people coming in to help from other academies, focusing on a great market of academies as well, bringing people both for the under 19s and the B team. For example, we're going a bit to the under 19, Eric Hamza, which we picked up from a last zero, which will be supposed to be beat 1-0, has been insane. I'm pretty sure that against the Olympiacos for the under 19s scored a brace or a hat trick. I don't, my memory escapes me on which one. And again, you can see that there is something different going on in the infrastructure of Olympiacos. And success is shown everywhere. So, for my final message for today, for one of my longest and thankfully smoothest solo shows in a year and a half that we've been going on, is to be behind this thing, as I've said many times. Because this thing will make us proud in every department, in every level, and in every way. I'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully. The next 3 days are going to be something. If I can't go live tomorrow, I'll make sure to update you all, and I will be going live on Thursday to cover both EuroLeague games of the week, as I did a lot of times in double weeks last year. I'll let you know. The certain post game is going to be on Wednesday, and I'll keep you updated for you. I hope you'll enjoy this longer one. I hope you'll enjoy as the coverage improves and everything. And I hope you all know that the best of you, both for Olympiacos and this show. Enjoy.